Welcome back to Layers, everyone. Today we're going to talk about something that is a little bit controversial, which is, do you actually need a master's degree to succeed, or is experience more valuable? In order to have this discussion, we have our first guest on the podcast, which is Ami, which is a friend and colleague of ours. She's also a designer. Me and her met during our bachelor's in Milan in design, and now she's doing her master's degree in interior design at the same uni me and Sophie did ours. She's just a year behind us. She's following our steps. How do you feel being here, being our first guest on the podcast?
Hi guys, it's an honor. I'm so happy to be here and super excited for this episode.
I'm gonna start with the first question.
Sophie's like, let me get into it.
So, what made you decide to do a master?
Thank you. So I feel like since my bachelor started, it was always something that I knew naturally I would go to. I feel like also being in design and studying design, it's never like a straight road. And so we kind of have to create our own path. Us doing our bachelor's in NABA, our course was design, so it was quite broad. It was a mix of product and interior design. And out of the 3 years, we only got to like specifically do interior design for 1 year. So I knew that doing that course, my passion was in interior design, and so I wanted to have some more time to like study it and get really good with my skills in there and refine my skills.
And what were your expectations for the course? And even the city, maybe, because you're also kind of new to Berlin. Like, you've been here for a year and a half now, right?
Yeah, this is true. I think I'll start with the city question. Before moving here for my master's, like I had never visited Berlin. The closest to Germany I had gotten was the Frankfurt airport. So so it was super interesting. I think immediately, like when I got to the city, I felt like this energy in the air of like there's always something happening, and just like seeing the kind of people that live here and the way that they dress and present themselves got me super excited because I was like, okay, I'm finally in a place where I can like truly express myself. And I was excited to kind of meet the people that I would be sharing my 2 years in the course, but also the other people that I would meet throughout. Because I feel like everybody that moves here has this like vision and this idea of what they want to become and what they want to be. And this is kind of where they come to make their dreams come true.
Okay.
And then in terms of my expectations for the course, I was talking to you before I moved here, so I had like an idea of like what I was getting into. And so I guess like my expectations kind of met with what I had already heard. So you were telling the truth.
I'm not a liar.
But yeah, like I think in general, when it comes to like unis and things, I don't always have the highest expectation, and not in a negative way, just that like each system works in a different way and some work for some and the others don't. And so I kind of just came here very open-minded, ready to see the way that like the program is led and the different kinds of tasks and assignments that we get in order to like work better on our skills. So I was very open-minded when I moved here.
That's great.
Right. Good question. Good question and good answer.
Yeah, so has it matched what you imagined now that you've been doing that for a year and a half? Or were you expecting something different? I mean, you said that you didn't have many expectations, because I feel sometimes it's better not to have expectations, because then you're more surprised, and also, I don't know, a little bit living it more.
Yeah, definitely. I think like it has met my expectations. I think when I started the course, I was like, no matter what happens, whether I manage to get a job, whether the course is exactly what I'm looking for, even if I didn't have a clear idea of what that was, what I'm getting out of the course is that it's helping me build a portfolio. And that is super valuable, especially for us as designers. Like, and we're fresh out of uni or trying to look for things. Like, this is what companies want to see: the way we work, the style that we have, and how we interpret different spaces. Because we all study the same thing, but our styles and our aesthetics are so different, which is what sets us apart from everybody in our class. And so I guess in that sense, yes, because the kinds of projects that we have tackled have been like super interesting and like unusual in like a very good way. So it's been really nice.
Okay. Um,
I'm gonna go with the next question.
yeah.
That it's kind of the old topic. Do you think that the master is actually necessary or not?
Yeah, I think this could also be a little bit of a discussion also between all of us.
Yeah, true.
But
Since we've all done a master's, or we're doing one now.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you can start here.
So in my opinion, I think, of course, education or knowledge is key. So the more you have, the better it is for you as an individual as well. And there's always room to learn. I think for me, also a big push to do the masters was because I'm originally from Portugal, so there the market is kind of slow right now for interior design, and I know that Berlin is a big city and art and design is a very big thing. And so I was like, okay, let me move here and try the job market here. So that was one big push for me. Whether it's worth it or not, it's hard to say. I think everyone's like on their own journey, but I do think that in general, like with education, there's always space to learn, so it's never negative.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I would also add that for me the expectation were high, but just because I think I grew up with like an kind of old generation of people where they also grew with a kind of system where you just like you get your degree and then you will get like for sure like your dream job. You just like get good grades, get a nice degree, and then it's easier. Um, but right now it's not like that anymore, and I think you you have to see the university not just like as a traditional education system, but it's more kind of the experience. So and the experience you're kind of investing in the whole experience, and the value changes based on what you're doing between your orientation and the graduation. So yeah, I would say that. But
Yeah, I do agree with what both of you said. I think I also did between the bachelor's and the master's, I did a year basically of internship, which was kind of crazy because I felt like I was relearning everything from the beginning. Because obviously, when you go into a studio or in a company, you're kind of learning your skills from zero. But even just like by printing on bigger machines and having to fold like the plants in section in a very specific way, which is obviously something that I you learn more in practice. But obviously, I felt like I wanted to, probably also because of COVID, I felt like I needed more experience of university life as well as maybe learning more skills, more um, conceptual thinking, which is also kind of bringing me to the next question, which is what does uni offer that we can't get from work? And what's the opposite? What does experience teach? I don't know. You both have also done um, internships, and we're in uni, and I think both are very valuable.
yeah, I think
But
they're two completely different kind of environments. So but they're both necessary, and but in uni it's kind of more a protected environment. You can fail, you can explore, you can test your skills and interests without like having this pressure of the real life. um, well, the in the experience part, while you're working, you it's more immediate. You have to um, talk with people. You have to actually like there's more pressure, so you grow, but in a kind of different way. And Yeah, I think it's about timing, what you need in a specific time of your life. So it's not just one of the other, but what you actually need for yourself. I would say that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think like when we're in uni, it's such an important step in also understanding like the way that we want to work and the kinds of styles that we like. Because most of the times it's super uncommon that you leave uni and you start your own studio. Like
Hmm.
usually you need something like a stepping stool. And usually when you work for another studio, like they already have their way of working and their what they expect the end result to look like. And so you're kind of put in this box already. And so uni is super important, I think, for us as individuals to like understand who we are in the design world, so that when we leave, like we have a design personality. And uni gives us like the space to like be super creative, like you said, and like let completely loose and be kind of unrealistic. um yeah, I think like that's a super important part also as a process as of being a designer.
Yeah, I think while I was working, while I appreciated everything that I've learned, because I think I've learned a lot during my internship, even just as a method of working, which is very important. The layers, the communication with the client. I did feel I was missing a little bit my own creativity. So I
Hmm.
feel like doing the masters was a natural step also for me. Um, to explore a little bit myself even more, and we did do some very crazy projects like the club, which is something that maybe I don't know. I hope maybe once in my life I'm gonna go and design a club, but you never know. So I think it's very valuable. Sometimes I do wish um, even our uni, but every uni would have maybe even more skilled classes, meaning that uh, if they were sometimes more specific instead of having general projects, it could be something that could add more value because then I don't know if you have a class about sustainable materials where you're also experimenting with materials or stuff like that.
Hmm.
That is something that if you go to a company and you say, I know all these things, it's something that can add value also to yourself. And I feel like I miss a little bit that maybe I so I'm trying to compensate it myself,
Hmm.
but I think that's I would never not go to do a master because it was really helpful and exploring different things and living in such a beautiful city as Berlin and to explore the creativity even more. Yeah, of course.
Sorry.
No, you can.
I think like you saying this also brought something up in my mind, which was I think before starting the masters, I guess I had this expectation that things would be a bit more detailed and like we would learn a bit more specifics about certain niches, even
Hmm.
if it's like a broader topic like lighting design. Like yes, we would have these classes, but still they were very vague. And then I feel like at the end of the day, it was kind of like we're all designers now because we all have a bachelor's, and now we're kind of just being asked to like do bigger projects, which is also super valuable and interesting. But I guess I was expecting also to still be able to learn more because I feel like right now, yeah, I'm learning while I do the process, but I'm like not learning much new from like the system, if
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah, I agree as well. I feel like yeah, there should be a mix. Maybe like during the bachelor, it's where you actually learn how to think, how to make decision, how to actually like design, and yeah, learn the right approach and build like a solid um, way of thinking. And then maybe in the master, yeah, it should be like more technical, more detailed in how you like helping you approach the real world. Um, so yeah, in the master that we did, it was still more about the way you approach design, how you think, how you design. So it's was more about I feel like research, how to
Yes.
do research properly, which was great
Mhm.
because for example I did not like focus that much during my bachelor on that, so it still was helpful. But yeah, I felt the same, like I kind of missed this more like technical part. that is more connected to the real job that you're gonna do in the future.
Yeah. It's like even just to like study materials, like materials or color theory or something like that. Like I feel like these are skills that maybe are expected of us to already kind of know and like apply now in the masters. Whereas I guess I was expecting maybe we would have like a little bit more like some classes or some sort of courses that also bring those in.
I think we did have a very interesting one, which was interior design principles in the first semester. And I think that was probably one of my favorite classes because it was really related to interior design and we were exploring different topics around it, like atmospheres, colors, different techniques of representing, um, which was very, very helpful, I feel. Because I did have to say that the studio, like the work experience, like for example, even just layering and knowing the different thickness of lines and stuff, I didn't know that before. I had learned that while I was at work, and they had like their own layers already made. I was like, okay, see, and then the furniture is lighter, and this is thicker, and so it's something that I got from work more than uni, which is good, but also I feel during a master's, a lot of people come from also different backgrounds, and it's important to acknowledge that as well, especially maybe the first year. I'm gonna ask both of you a question now, which is, did you feel and do you feel pressure? Did you and do you feel pressure to keep studying, to kind of sort of feel this validation from even your parents or just for yourself? The more you study, the better.
Um, Personally, no. I feel like right now for me, the pressure is more to like, okay, I've done my studying, I've done my bachelor's, I'm gonna get my master's degree hopefully soon. And then from that, like the next step for me naturally would be to like find a job in this market specifically. And that's where I feel the pressure, not only from like external factors, but also for myself, because I feel like it's this idea that I've also built within me, and it would be the logical next step. I feel like as a designer, also our industry and our profession is so kind of like unstable in a way that it would be nice to find a stability or some stability like after finishing the study. So
I feel I maybe I will say that I I feel a little bit of pressure, and I feel sometimes I feel the need to of validation. Um, but I think also that it's normal. We live in a society where all the things are basically you ask all the time for validation, which is not healthy, but it is what it is. Um, and I feel it's the same in the design. Also because like right now the system is kind of more in the approach is competitive instead of cooperative, is it?
Cooperative, yeah.
Cooperative, so everything is about performing. You have to keep doing stuff, improve, and so that kind of also translate into like seek for this seeking for validation. And also it's not easy because it kind of changed the way people think, and it translates also in the studio that they keep asking for other like things and more and more and more. So you're constantly feel this pressure to do to learn new things, to learn new programs, to learn new techniques, and and get accepted to work, to jobs, to masters, to classes, whatever. So I'm trying not to do that, but it's not that easy, I would say.
I'm gonna come in here because there's you mentioned that there's this expectations over also from companies, like that they want you to have a lot of skills, a lot of knowledge already. And there's like this paradox between like whether studios are asking for experience, but at the same time higher education. So they want a lot of experience and also a master's, a PhD, the more you have, the better. So this competitive aspect that you mentioned is even more present. And I feel like in this society, for example, especially in design, well, we have to do projects even in university. And I think it's kind of as work. Even when we started, they told us, yeah, you can have obviously a job outside if you want to, but it's going to be a little bit hard because you need to work on that. And recently I came across this post on LinkedIn. Actually, my mom sent it to me. It was very interesting. That and this lady was suggesting that companies right now are going away and moving more and more away from hiring juniors, because they're focusing more on senior roles. And this is like because of AI absorbing a lot of the jobs that are like production. So basically, like a lot of production, even just images, we also are starting to use that more. And therefore, like those more education based tasks are really getting taken out from AI in a way. And therefore, like I was really reflecting on this because I'm like, if AI is gonna replace these tasks, what are the tasks that a senior to be hired needs to have? Is uni actually preparing us for that? Or are we still in the previous task, you know?
That's not easy. That's not easy and that's scary. But
I left them speechless, guy.
I feel like right now I'm better at deciding and than doing stuff. Like I miss that kind of thing. So maybe I could steal your senior position. But yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I don't know. To me, actually, it's more scary. Like, what do I have to do to get a junior position? Because I'm like, cool, senior, but like my first step is the junior, you know. And I feel like usually, like when we're applying, they also already want all this experience.
Yes.
And it's like they also want us to have a lot of knowledge with education. But it's like which part of my like how am I supposed to plan my life if I'm studying, and then when I apply for a job, I need like 6 years of experience already. Like, how do we balance
that's
these two,
crazy.
you know? But then coming to AI, I feel like when it first came out, and I was like, okay, yeah, they're using it also for like interior design, and it's possible. I was also scared. But then, like, now also doing my master's, I use it a little bit also to sometimes get inspired or to get like an initial thought that I have kind of rendered a bit quickly to understand like, does this actually make sense to like follow through with? Or should I just stop this idea now? Like, with initial ideas, I think that AI can be very helpful. So I think like maybe instead of being scared of it, we can try and like use it as a friend. But I don't know. I think it's hard.
I think especially what this lady was mentioning, it was yes, AI as a tool. We also saw it last week. Because I it was also exploring for me in my thesis as tools to use during the design process. But it's also like if AI is getting and absorbing this task, like this execution task, which usually is what juniors are there for, you know? You do the parts that maybe the seniors also don't want to do that much. And so the challenge is not, even for juniors, becomes not to execute anymore, but really to how to think faster than the tools that there are now. Because, for example, ChatGPT or AI tools, they are very fast thinkers. How can I, as a designer, think faster than them? You know what I mean? And like I'm usually like this uni style is like preparing us for like process, research, and then conceptual thinking. So is uni actually preparing us to think more or like execution based or both? Or I don't know, decision making? Is it preparing us to be ready to make the decisions as, I don't know, a possible senior?
It really depends on the on the university and the program that you're choosing. So you should like look into that as well. But I don't know because like where the values goes now is changing. So like now it's about like really thinking and know how to approach problems and frame them, and you can use AI is like Italian AI but it's really how you make decision, and I think uni really helps you build this kind of like mindset. That was my experience because like before uni I was just like making decision out of aesthetic and what I like, but without meaning and without like a clear design process. But after like doing my masters I discovered like what I uh, the right one for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think that also makes sense. I feel like I see also a difference between like my first year of my master's and then the second, where the first year I feel like in general the teachers were a bit more against AI and trying to push us away, like use it as less as possible, which also makes sense because using AI also takes away like I don't know, your brain is a tool as well, and if we get used to using AI, then like your brain is also, I guess, becoming a bit slower in that sense. But then in the second year now, I feel like they're teaching us also as designers like we need to move with the times. And if the times are quite like AI focused right now, it also makes sense instead of like being scared of it or running away or avoiding it. It also makes sense to like use it with us. Doesn't mean like AI takes over our work, but like we can use it to our advantage to help us create the best possible outcome. Um,
it makes it easier
yeah,
for us, like just to make the process faster.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
um,
What do you think?
what do
Also,
you think?
the world we're living in is getting faster and faster, even with all these social medias that are super fast, and the world is changing, and it's, as I already said, it's better to embrace the new tools. Obviously, as someone that is now looking for a job, um, and there are, we already discussed about this as well, there aren't a lot of junior positions at the moment. There are a lot of senior positions with which required like 6, 5, 6, 7 years of experience, which is like, oh my god, I literally just graduated. um, so that is very interesting. I feel like in my mind, I was like, if nobody's hiring juniors, but they're hiring more seniors, what is the in between then? Is the internship? So then you're not paid, and then but then what? You're intern and then you're a senior. Like we're maybe missing a step here. It's like I'm just putting thoughts here because I want kind of people also to reflect on this because it's an interesting topic. Um, so I'm throwing here questions because um, I don't know, as someone that I was mostly applying for juniors, but then I also started applying for seniors. I'm like, okay, my experience is uni basically. I would say that I know how to design, I know how to draw, I know how to render. So I don't think I'm not experienced. Um, we could consider our masters maybe as well, like these 2 years of getting more experience and knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The problem is the competition is really high. So there are, I also like try to do that, but then they always say, you know, we received a lot of applicants and they have experience. So I'm just like going there with my 2 years of experience and nothing like,
Yeah.
and against someone that has like 6 years. And so
I agree. I think it's tough, but at the same time, I feel like in general, no matter how much studying one does, like even after this master's, if I choose to do another master's in something else, eventually when I do decide to like settle down and find a job, whatever studio I work for, like I'm gonna have to relearn things. Like every studio works in their own way and their style, like I said also earlier, like it's always different. And so in my opinion, like yeah, okay, it's amazing to be able to get all these skills and to have and to keep them and apply them, but then at the end of the day, like wherever you work, like you're gonna have to relearn certain things. So I feel like sometimes studios kind of just need to trust us as like, even though it's a bit scary to hire somebody who doesn't show that they have like that much experience. I feel like we're in the stage of like eager to learn, and I feel like we all also express that like feeling when we are writing out to them.
Yeah,
You
we
know?
are still evolving, so
Yeah.
we can evolve within the studio as well. So we don't need that much of experience. We also like bring new, fresh ideas,
Yeah.
new approaches. So I think it will be helpful to studio to have interns of junior position, just because, and we have energy because we're
Yeah,
young.
that's exactly what I wanted to say. I think, um, you know, especially in London, a lot, like they hire people on their 20s because you're still young. Your approach is very different. Um, your creativity is peaking probably because you don't have experience, so you think that everything is actually possible, and that's such a nice perspective to see things. Because I'm like, I never did. Maybe yes, I did things, and I know what's probably most likely to that can happen or what can't. But I'm like so eager to put myself into the things that I would do literally whatever. Like my creativity is exploding. Um, and I feel like sometimes now they're maybe a little bit afraid of that. They want something that is more stable. But for example, just interesting because my mom is always like when she's hiring someone new, her and her boss, she likes to have a young team. Like it also makes her, because yes, she likes to be surrounded by people that are young because they also bring a different energy than her, and I think it's also doing her good. I mean, my mom is in the field of design, but not a designer, let's say, but she works with designers every day, and it's interesting that also her in her team she likes to have like young people, um, to have this freshness and even to keep like it can be such a teachable moment. It's like when you put a child with a older person, like um, you can learn so much the skills and you can help each others. Even like basic example, when I was a child and my grandma would teach me how to put the flowers in the pot or stuff like this. That's such a nice exchange because I had all the energy and she was like teaching me, okay, you do that, and I was getting it. So imagine if this combination would still exist more even now, because I feel like we're kind of losing it, and we're also more afraid of doing mistakes. Even when I was doing my internship, I was really afraid of doing a mistake because then I was like, oh my god, if I make a mistake, they're gonna fire me. I'm not good enough, and the pressure. I was like, even for myself, because I'm also a person that needs everything to be super perfect and precise. So I feel like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like companies could use it like to our advantage, like to their advantage, that we're kind of fresh out of like the educational system, and our brains are kind of like babies, like we're ready to like learn or relearn the way that a certain company works, and so we're not used to like another company's way of working. So they would kind of be our first experience for some, or like a longer term experience, and so they could shape and mold us to like their liking, and so it actually would be like an advantage to them.
I have a question.
Oh my gosh.
Just like to go right to the conclusion, or close to the conclusion. Do you think there's a right path to follow or a more like personal one?
um I definitely don't think that there is a right path to follow. I feel like even though we're all kind of in the same place now, we've all come and have had like different journeys to get to where we are now. Even if we did the same bachelor's, like in this in between space, we were both doing different things. And even after you both have graduated, like you both are also trying to figure out what to do next, and which makes sense, you know. And I feel like that just means that, especially with design, if you compare it to like a business profession or something, like their way of doing things is very systematic, and I think that they have like a clearer path
Mm-hmm.
and a direction to go in. But when it comes to design, like it's so personal in a way, that in my opinion, like there is no right way to do things. It's kind of you're it's to do a little bit with luck, but also like going with your flow and trying to understand like what it is that you want right now, and then kind of going in that direction and seeing where it takes you.
What I would suggest that helped me, for example, I didn't follow like a traditional path because I took like 2 gap years basically, one before my bachelor and one after my bachelor. But because like if you're not really sure about what you want to do, I think that also kind of like could be helpful for you to really understand what you are, what you like, and what are your strengths, and then you can choose the right master. Like the important thing, especially if you're paying, if it's free, that's different. But like if you're paying,
You pay.
if you're paying a lot of money for your education, you really need to be sure what you like, and a strategy is taking a gap here and maybe even move abroad. I moved to London for a year, and there I actually like decided, okay, I want to be a designer. And then it was right because I tried different things in London, and that helped me understand what I wanted to do. The other option was the army. So
I think young people are always pressured. I feel like sometimes I even put myself a lot of pressure. Um, is it the right thing? Was it right for me to do this? I think it's a lot of in your 20s, it's to discover yourself in a way.
mhm.
There is not right or wrong. It's just discovering what feels best for you, the right energy for you. I think everything, even I'm telling that a little bit also to myself right now, even if things don't feel like they're super aligned right now, everything is happening for a reason, and everything is gonna align even if you right now don't see it. And it's difficult because we always tend to compare ourselves with others. Oh my god, she's doing that. Oh my god, they already have a job. But it's also important to avoid that a little bit and focus on yourself and your path without comparing yourself too much to others. Everyone has a different priorities. Everyone has um, a different personality, and you never know. So I guess that's what I think about it. Do you want to add something? Because if not, I'm gonna ask you the last question.
I was just gonna say, like, don't let fear lead you. I feel like we're always put in this kind of like cookie cutter world where it's like this is how life is supposed to happen, and these are the steps that you're supposed to take. But I feel like when you're actually in it, um, it's actually not like that. And like every day or every month, or I don't know where I'm gonna be next year, or how.
I know where we're gonna be. We're gonna be all in Australia. Check us out. Eduardo, you're listening. You're Sophia also moving with us to Australia.
It's coming. I'm preparing like slowly.
It's a process. Mom, if you're listening, you too.
Eduardo is Sophia's boyfriend. Just not to say random names.
Eduardo.
Eduardo.
But yeah, exactly. Just don't let fear lead you. I think like that's what kind of sometimes fuels me and is like pushing me like, okay, now I should get a job. But maybe that's not the right thing. Like if it's not working now, then maybe it's not meant to be. Or maybe the city is not like where it's gonna happen for me and I need to try somewhere else.
Yeah, I also feel like sometimes you need to go away. I think it's always good to go away, even from home, even if it's just like for 6 months, because it helps you build yourself. Also, get away from your parents where you're maybe a little bit more cuddled and you're in a safe space.
Yeah.
It's important to explore more. And the moment you leave your country, like I don't know, sometimes I also always felt that um I was always felt a little bit out of place, and now I'm feeling a little bit more in place. So let's see also where we're all. I mean, there's gonna be a migration, migration of all of us. It's funny. To conclude, I'm gonna ask you the last question, which Sophie asked me in the last episode because I was kind of interviewed, which is, what layers of yourself are you currently exploring?
This is a good question.
Thank you. It's a great question.
I think right now the layers that I'm exploring are what kind of designer I want to be, and whether I want to like put myself in this box of interior designer, because I feel very drawn to like other areas of design and using my creativity in other areas of design a lot as well. And so I'm trying to figure out what kind of direction and maybe what sort of job would be most like well suited for me. Because sometimes I find like obviously within the interior design like structure and the way that we lead our courses at uni, there's like a specific process that we kind of go through, and slowly I'm learning that there are some part of the processes that I'm not super fond of, which I also think is natural. But I think like some of them also like teach me that maybe interior designer is not exactly where I want to be. Maybe it's some things like maybe project manager, or I don't know, maybe even like a graphic designer. Even though that's in a completely different area, I also think like when we do design, like we learn so many skills and different softwares that can be applied to like different areas. So I guess like that's what I'm trying to figure out now.
Yeah, I think you pointed out something interesting because, for example, when I say when they ask me what I do, I never say that I'm an interior designer. I always say that I'm a designer. And when people ask me that, it's like I do a bunch of things. We do a bunch of things as designers. It's not just drawing. It's like you're a designer. You are a photographer. You are a graphic designer, which is still a designer.
Yeah.
But we did also learn that in NABA, like graphic design. Oh, we were in the project together. So you're a bunch of things when you're a designer, and that's also interesting and difficult at the same time because you want to do so many things. And sometimes we're like, is it good that I want to do that? I want to be a florist designer as well. I want to do
But you also like use nature in the project, so you could also do that.
Integrate it. Yeah.
So it's so broad, and it's the beauty and the tricky part of designer as well, I would say.
Yeah.
I love that answer. It was a really nice answer.
I feel the same. We can do everything, basically, but at some point I feel like you have to like choose a little bit, like something, like maybe 2 free fields, so you actually know what you're doing. But that's not always true, because there are so many designers or architects, for example, that did like furniture or art, whatever, because it's like still like a creative field. So you just have to do what you like, and that's it.
Yeah, uni gives you the skills, and then the word is yours.
Yeah.
Like, is it from Aladdin? Yeah, the word is yours.
A whole new world.
A whole new word. The word is yours. Okay, I will define it.
Is your oyster.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. It's time to go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think we both enjoyed it. It was something different.
It was really nice.
It was nice to have third opinion here. Even though we're pretty much all alive. I hope you had fun. Hope you guys enjoyed.
I did.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
No, yeah, not you.
You look at me like
I look at You because you like my
I
food
hope
there,
you
and I'm like,
enjoy this. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Like,
well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it as well. I hope this discussion of today also brought some reflections in people that are listening, because I think there's a lot to reflect on that. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
bye bye.
Bye.